Another episode of Forged Not Born. Today I have a very, very special guest, DFAC Pro coach, bodybuilder, Opio. Let us know where you come from, how you made it to where you are right now, and tell us about the journey, brother.
Thank you very much for having me, Martin. And I do like what you're doing with the guests. I have seen the ones with to live, and when I was looking at that, I thought, you know what, this is actually pretty cool. So thanks for having me again. My name obviously is Opio. I am a DFAC Pro, which is a natural bodybuilder. I've attained my pro card in 2018. I am a dad of two, whilst managing a coaching business online specifically for natural bodybuilders and anyone who wants to lose 15 to 20 pounds of body fat, depending on the day to day. I've been doing this for over 10 years now. And yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Busy, busy man. Two kids. How old?
So yes, very busy. He just come home now. He's screaming. A 2-year-old boy and a 8-year-old
Yeah.
girl. So a young family, which I have. So just juggling and school and nursery, and with the other half she works. So it's like the days that she's working. London and Leeds, and we're based in South East. We're based in Reading, so that's like quite far. Which you go to Birmingham and Leeds, and I've got the kids. So I'm like first thing in the morning, drop. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun
Fun
stuff.
times, right? Fair. You say you were what? Do you say you were southeast?
Yeah, based in Reading.
Okay, not too far because I'm Aylesbury, so I'm
Okay,
not
okay.
too far. I got married in Silchester.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So like it's just a farm down that way. So fun little link up there. Like
Yeah.
potential, I can come down your ends. It's not too far away. It's about an hour and a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I can hear from your accent that you're more sort of southern, my our side. But obviously, we know with like the bodybuilders and anyone within our space, they're mainly from like Midlands and up north. Again, better
There's a
gyms
big
and stuff. So
contingency,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, that's all they do, right? That's all they do up there. So the community
It's
up
how they
there for
build
sure
the
is
monsters.
100%. Oh, I mean, it's a much bigger and better community for bodybuilding. That's just a fact.
Yeah, I mean, in your experience and in your opinion, do you think that is the case now when it comes to being like down south, basically like south of Birmingham downwards? Is that your experience?
Yeah, so it's got a lot better now, and the reason why it's got a lot better now, there's been like your bigger name gym brands has branched out and franchised down south. Um,
Mm.
when you look at Midlands up not plus all the IFBB pros, all the top natural bodybuilders, anyone who's got a relatively decent physique, they all speak, walk, talk, train the same, network. Everyone knows each other. Everyone support each other from the north. But I've seen over the years, again, been competing for a very long time. My first show was 2015. We never had that. We didn't even knew that some of these people existed, just because one, social media was starting to really kind of pick up then, and then secondly as
Mm.
well, we could only really have the local independent gym where we have like rusty dumbbells, and that's the best that we would get in those times, you know. But yeah, there's definitely been a massive difference in the improvement with availability of gyms down here. But we're talking about pre-COVID, up to like 2016, 2017, very difficult to have a decent gym down here. Well, talking about Southeast compared to
Mm.
Midlands onwards.
Yeah, definitely seeing the rise of the Ultraflex, and many other like there's some fantastic independent gyms up north, like especially
Yeah.
around that kind of Manchester, Birmingham, Derby area. You're seeing a lot come up. For me, like there's a couple as you kind of go out a little bit more to like Bristol way, obviously Cheltenham way, as you start to go up into that region, as you go kind of more towards Chester and all that. There's obviously like trained by JP, and there's a couple other fantastic gyms that I'm sure I'm not
Hmm.
mentioning as well. But like in that area, there's a couple of like real sleepers that are around it. But yeah, definitely considering around that kind of outline, there's a handful of like really good gyms, but they're spread out pretty far. I know for me in Aylesbury, there's one gym court, and like even then, like that's really it around. Like as soon as you
Hmm.
start going to like Milton Keynes or down south towards like even as far as Reading, even Watford. Like to be fair, there's not really anything substantial in. There's one in Wickham. There's maybe one in like Hemel.
Yeah.
Like this, it's really really spread out, isn't it? So I know for me, like I competed in NABA in 2016. Don't ask me why, by the way. Like it was just like so random. I just picked the nearest. It was. I remember where it is actually as well. It was close to the airport in West London, and and I really just picked it because it was the closest show within the time period I could get ready for. And I just did a 20-week prep, and I look back on it now. I was like, yeah, I was photo shoot lean at best. Like, but again, it was so bad, mate. I look back at it, I'm like, oh,
But that's
you know, like
2016 quality for you, anyways, right? Back then, we've seen a massive shift in bodybuilders in general. So that 2016 would have been awesome back then in terms of look, would have been acceptable. So yeah, I would don't give yourself a hard time.
well, yeah. Also, like jumping into an untested show as well. Like looking around, I was like, at the time, you might remember this as well. Like there was it was like UK BFF. It was like I remember it's like a red sign. Do you remember it?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and like back in the day, like a lot of people were doing with that, and then like obviously I think that imploded. I don't know why. I've never looked into it. I don't really care. But I remember backstage with Nabba speaking to these guys, and it was like a first timers show, and like they were all hopping across onto first timers. I was looking at these guys like, you're not first timers though. Like, I was looking at you like,
Never, man. Lee Priest, we had Jordan Peters competed then as well. So that time they were, I think Jordan Peters might have actually done 2016 or 17, might have done. So
who knows? But there were some humongous guys, and like when I took that hit hard, I was like, what the hell is going on? Like I didn't know what was going on with it. Like didn't have a coach, nothing like that. I was getting some proper supplement shop garage advice from some people, man. So it was hilarious. How did you get into bodybuilding?
So quite simple. I used to sprint at a very high level when I was younger. My electrical timing, again, we're talking about like the gun that you get at like a school sports or like your local track, you know, the electrical timing at some very high level at the time I was 15, 11.002. So for me, coming from Trinidad and Tobago, I've always been sprinting, but coming over here to the UK, my mum was like, right, we're going to do sprint. Everyone had high expectations from me, like my nan and my family members, even the local boys from the school we went to back home. And I was really passionate about that. So fast forward a year and a half to that end of the season, I got injured, had a really nasty back injury, and I was actually unable to sprint. So I've always kind of come from a sporting background in regard if it's like sprinting. I just like to keep active, and I can remember trying to do the off season again with athletics. How it worked is basically like strength and conditioning, like 3 days a week, and then plus you'd have like a more longer running, and my back just was not. It just wasn't getting better.
Yeah, man.
That affected it a lot, and then at the
How'd you
age,
do it?
I was doing the third leg on the relay, the last show, the last meet. So he's having a bit of fun. All the guys were like, oops, can I do run first? Because I was normally the one who ran first on the relay. So then that way we can get some real distance and keep the momentum. So I said, okay, cool, like no problem. But if you're into sprinting, there is a way in a technique how you run the bend. You don't just run and kind of twist. You have to like time it where the arm dip, you carry your shoulder over, so then you bend and get kind of like a momentum way to really.
It makes sense as you're going around because you've got not only you're not running in a straight line, you're going around a bend. So
yeah, and there's a way how to do it. So then you're actually carrying the momentum that you're actually sprinting quite fast. I remember doing it, but not to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm good because I'm a third leg. I'm going to like do it properly. And then I could just run. I could just feel this little, every step I took, I could just feel like a sharp pain in my lower back. And I was just like, right, okay. Yeah. Handed up the baton. We won the season, big celebration. And like 2 days afterwards, done. That's the only thing I can put a marker on that why my back hurt. And because I only felt it then. Could have been beforehand, could have been, I don't know. But that's what's the most noticeable about my lower back then.
That's interesting, man. Like just because obviously when we look at injuries and stuff like that, there would have been an accumulation of something going on there. It wouldn't have just one day just betrayed you, like it just
100%
literally stabbed you in the back. Like no, it would have just done that. Like it's not built that way. Just like you've had enough. Like oosh.
Yeah, no, I agree, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, so like obviously that then just like took you out. What was it classified as then? What was it, treated as?
So it was if I can remember, I went to the physios, went to the doctor. Well, went to the doctors, went to the physios. It was, I can't remember the actual injury, what it was called, but essentially it was like a bit of a nerve damage, and my bone kind of was getting past the cartilage, so every movement was just like there was no cushion there. At like 15, wow. That was rough. That was just sharp pain. That was just rough because at the time, luckily, I was young at the time, so I was able to recover obviously years later and just never affected me since. So that was pretty much it. It was, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's just something to do with like a bit of nerve damage, and the cartilage actually
Yeah.
been removed, so there was no cushioning, so my actual vertebrae were just rubbing each other, and it was just horrendous, mate.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely awful. Because I mean, at 15, there's not really a lot of wear and tear that would have gone into that, right? So you're just looking at some genetic aspect there of like where it was always going to happen. It was just a matter of time. So you got as much as you could out of that. So looking at it in hindsight, it is what it is. It's sometimes it's in God's
Yeah,
hands, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Again, which then pushed me into to bodybuilding because I couldn't
Yeah.
sprint, and we were in year 10, I think. Year 10 going to year 11. So one of my good friends were like, "Hey, do you want to go to the gym?" So yeah, cool. Went there, was just like bench pressing like 80 to 100 kilos on the first sessions, and my
Well,
friends
like
were
at
looking at me
15,
like,
16.
yeah, yeah, like I was just strong as shit, man. And it's quite a normal occurrence because if you know David K, he came from a sprinting
I know
background,
of. I know of.
and he's
Yeah.
extremely strong. So it's to do with, and a lot of bodybuilders are ex-sprinters. A lot of bodybuilders are
Yeah.
ex-sprinters.
That
Again,
type
top
2
guys.
explosive muscle fibers. Yeah, there's something to be said about that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you look into some of the good guys, they would have had some history of athletics, for a fact. Um, so we went to the gym and we're just feeling was just strong for my age, I guess. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, went to school, was meant to go to university, didn't go to university, didn't enroll. I can remember enrollment day, I was got introduced to drinking like 2 weeks beforehand, and I can remember enrollment day, I woke up with the nastiest head hungover, looking at my papers in the bed, and I was just like, I'm not gonna make it to Portsmouth for uni today. But I felt like I was being forced to go to university because my brothers and my dad and my mum, and I just felt that pressure of go to university, which I did not
Um,
want to at all, at all.
yeah, yeah. When you have that, like you also you can always look at this in a hindsight perspective, right? Of like if you had forced yourself to do that, forced yourself into that position, been there, would you have gave it all? Would you have enjoyed it? Would you have actually gone through the career pathway that university is built for? No. Would you have met your wife? Would you have had your kids? Would you be where you are right now?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so like there is what it is. Like, it's just part of the story. I mean, I tell mine all the time. Like I was in college doing sports science. I was basically classed as, I don't want to call it semi-professional footballer because that makes me sound like I was actually decent. I wasn't. Um,
I'm pretty sure you were. Keep giving yourself a hard time. I'm sure you were.
definitely not, mate. Definitely not. But I was playing for like Molten College, which is like Northampton way, like near in that and Kettering, and their team was also like a feeder team for Kettering Town when they were in the conference. So I don't know if you know anything about like football or if you know that name or at all. They were kind of like your Rushden and Diamonds, but a little bit better, and they had a full stadium and everything, proper club, and like a lot of history there as well. And like I was playing for that while doing this kind of like scholarship in essence, like where I was going to college. You know, you've got to attend so you can play. If you don't attend, you don't play, kind of thing.
Sure.
And managed to go through the trials, get there. I'd always been a better athlete than I had been technically good. I could get better and I would get the most improved because I just pure willpower and effort. But eventually, I kind of like, I wouldn't say self-imploded, but I just quit basically. I just said this just is enough for me. I had an
Wow.
ankle injury that kind of screwed me out of pre-season. I come back from pre-season, wasn't fit enough, hadn't done the rehab, got introduced to drinking and eating too much stuff as well. So that happened, which was interesting. And then when I didn't get selected, didn't get the captaincy, wasn't playing first team, I was on the bench and stuff. No choice, like, it wasn't the manager's fault. Like he was doing exactly as he should. I wasn't fit. I wasn't ready. Like, and then I wasn't able to stay there, which was for me my stupid ass back then. Like it was half an hour commuted in a bus. Like it wasn't that much going from Milton Keynes to like Molten College in Northampton. It was a
Yeah.
really straightforward trip. But because I couldn't stay there in digs like I did the first year, I just threw it in and then went to Milton Keynes College. I had to restart from the first year after the first year I'd just done, which is
Oh.
You telling a
man.
17-year-old to, hey, you got to go
Uh,
back and restart this again after you just
oh.
done it all. I was like, oh, so I tried it for a bit. I had some fun with the guys, played some great football for like, I think the 6 months with a Milton Keynes college career. And there's some absolutely fantastic brothers that I played with. And they were all like, a lot of them were like ex-academy products as well, like been in the under 16s or been released and they're like a year older as well. Great guys. Manager was great crack as well. I met him a couple of years back playing football for someone else before I like basically retired at 27.
All right. Well, so
um,
you still did quite a long time afterwards then.
so yeah, I played men's football for a bit. I snapped my ankle real bad. Playing for a place called Cranfield Town, just outside Milton Keynes. Didn't really know it. Foot got frozen in the ground. Snapped it nice. It's the only time I've never walked off a football pitch, to be fair. And little did I know, I'd actually torn my lateral ligament off my ankle, my right side. Didn't even know. Like it was just, I thought it was a really bad sprain. It was flopped over nice. I thought maybe it's broken or maybe like done something like that. But I went to A and he was like, "Nah, it's just a sprain. Don't worry about it." It was not. So
Oh
then I joined.
gosh.
Yeah, no, then I joined the military. I had to prove that I could go through that. So I'm in the military. I make it through with my busted up ankle. Just again, pure willpower, like pushing through. And then somehow managed to then make it out and start competing and doing all this as well from 22. So I got out of the army of 2015, then competed first 2016, and then I had to get a hernia operation in 2018.
Yeah.
So then COVID hit 2020, and then we finally got around to recompeting again 2024, and that was fun.
Wow.
So that's a fun old journey, isn't it?
Yes, no, I mean it's quite interesting, right? We, as teenagers growing up, anyone who's like competing or into sport, we all kind of like have similar kind of backgrounds. Again, yourself was playing football at a decent level. Me with the sprinting, injury, uni, started college, relapse. Well, didn't have to do it again. Me
Mm,
didn't even bother. More food, more alcohol. So, and then it just kind of like, the time just comes when you kind of have a lot more in terms of what you want to do. And
mm,
another reason why I love bodybuilding so much, it's the only one of the only things in this earth that you can do as an individual to build personal growth, to build and strengthen willpower and discipline by knowing that you have to stick to this food, this training routine. You're gonna have highs, you're gonna have lows. Towards the back end of prep is always gonna be more lows. And what you have to realize is what's actually gonna be building character is you doing what needs to be done. And you can easily have some cake or easily go on, I'm just gonna have like a chicken salad in the pub with my friends. And that's what I love bodybuilding for. And from that, you actually grow as a person. When you go through a whole prep and you look back, you are like, damn, I was so militant back then. And it makes you a lot more as an authoritative figure, I guess. And when people say, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that, it's just like, mate, try doing a natural bodybuilding prep and sticking to it. That's
it's an
insane
extreme,
challenge.
right? It is an extreme. There's no doubt because I look back at like even like my trainer. I train. I mean, in the military, sometimes we would train 2-3 times a day, especially when I was in trying to do some boxing stuff or whatever. We would train 3 times a day, and
Mm.
then even when I was in football, I'm thinking, yeah, we had AM and PM sessions, we have technical breakdown, then we'd have work, or maybe we'd have gym sessions later. But at no point in time did I ever really give a shit or measure my food out or make sure that I was in a controlled starvation. Like,
Hmm.
nah, none of that. You're fueling. You're just fueling. And it's just
Yeah.
happened by certain looks. Some people genetically are going to look a lot better than others on the football pitch just because they can. And some people are just going to, not going to look like an athlete, but just be an absolute tank and just be like, they just keep going. Like, you're someone like your Roy Keanes, right? If you someone like your Steven Gerrard or Frank Lampard's, physique wise, nothing
Mm.
special, but an absolute engine of like stamina,
Brute. Yeah.
endurance, right? And then they have strength as well. So like it's just a completely different ball game. Like when you're doing that, and you are taking yourself down into for a short period of time at least, especially with natural bodybuilders, like enhanced a little bit different, but you're going into very unhealthy levels of body fat for a period of time for an objective. And like as much as we want to put the sugar coating on this, like it's not healthy to do that. You're not supposed to do that every single year. You're not supposed to spend a long time in that period. It's like a snatch and grab. You're in and then you're out. Like you maybe do 2-3 shows, like maybe like a couple more depending on how long you can last it or how early your season
Hmm.
starts. If you want to come in softer and build in better, cool, you can do that, but you're not going to be first show ready and then like doing like more competition 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks later, are you?
No. And I fully agree. And we see it, right? We see it with the guys who would have, one show lined up and they would do 3 shows in 4 weeks, and they would say, "Oh, this was the best look," or "This was the best look," and they're always supposed to get better. Once you've achieved your best look in natural bodybuilding for that season, like you can't get a better best look.
Mm.
And we see we see a lot of people really pushing and doing unnecessary shows, so many shows into one, and they just physically just get tired out way faster. So yes, those people for sure will need to take a year out to rebuild their hormone balance and stuff. Because if you're running peak into peak into peak into peak, it's too much stress. What I literally tell my guys after post show is, you're not going to feel the same a day after your show, or 2 days, or 3 weeks, or even 3 months, depending on how long this season was. I said, this takes a long time. We need to get homeostasis back. We need to have hunger management. We need to look at the body fat that you're putting on. Most importantly, you need to understand, when you look at yourself in the mirror from a physical standpoint, you have to accept that you're not in contest prep, like lean condition, and don't feel bad. You can't, if you don't feel bad, because that's another snowball effect where people keep looking at their
psychological
abs
effects,
and it's a snow down. It's an avalanche. It's a snowball effect and an avalanche, and it's to an absolute disaster. And this is why I would say that post prep reverse, that is so much harder than actual contest prep. And again, it would stop the people from just feeling trashed and being unhealthy and people are going to do it myself and staying lean for unnecessary amounts of time, which is not good. So I agree. Like, it is not healthy. I don't say, hey, we can do natural bodybuilding. It's healthy. It's not in any way, shape, or form. As you said, you come in, do what you need to do, plan your season properly, come up, reverse, enjoy some time, and get better. Very simple.
Yeah, I think like there's a point there is like no one's ever going to force you to come into that, but there's a point where you're like, hey, like natural bodybuilding is really actually really healthy until this point here. Like after that, and then as you come out of that, not. But everything else, amazing. Yes. Like longevity, hormone balance, muscle building, heart, like health wise. If you take, so I'd imagine like, do you get bloods done?
No.
So like some of the guys, I imagine, like especially top guys, people like yourself, professional natural bodybuilders, right? If you were to get bloods done, bar any kind of like genetic, metabolic disease kind of stuff that you might inherited that you go and have no control over, I guarantee you your bloods would be pretty phenomenal. Like along with a lot of the other guys at the top, because of how you guys live. Right, I say you guys is like natural bodybuilders.
No,
and
of course,
we live.
I understand the terminology.
What we eat, how we act, like how we look after our recovery, how we look after our food with food quality, how we push training, but not too much to the point where we're training 6-7 days a week. Like there's that kind of balance where like if you take out like those little extremes of both ends, like it's actually one of the healthiest sports you could ever do that you could do for a very long time.
Longevity. You said it earlier. Longevity is the only sport that you can do from a teen all the way into masters and get better as a natural bodybuilder. Cristiano Ronaldo, he's probably a little bit of an anomaly, being mid to going into later 30s for footballers, but again, might be more supplementation and technology and AI now to then help keep longevity now for footballers. But, footballers were tapping out at 28 to 32, a few years back. Now he is at the age where he should retire, but again, he's still extremely one of the the top ballers in the game. But again, we could talk about genetically, hereditary. That's probably why he's like that. But he looks after himself ridiculously. So yeah, I agree for sure on those points. But when people say natural bodybuilding, it's like you can compete at a 17, 18-year-old all the way to your 50s and 60s. They've even got bloody classes for 60s plus in natural bodybuilding. Can't do that football, can't do that for American football, can't do that with any sport. You can't.
No, you're not seeing that on the track and field. You're not seeing that on the basketball court. You're not seeing 60-year-olds clashing each other on the rugby pitch. Like, can you imagine the ambulance crew on the side if that ever happens? Like a serious, it's like, please play touch. Exactly. No, I mean, it's
That's the beauty of natural bodybuilding, because once you've done everything properly, then you should be fine. And yeah, I just probably different. Yeah, I was gonna say something, but probably when we come on to like nutrition as well, in terms of my approaches. But what fucking hell, we're here now
Yeah,
with
that's
natural
it.
bodybuilders and the clients who I work with. And you mentioned earlier about one of the variables about eating the right foods or the better quality foods. And I think that we
Mm,
need to be super careful as natural bodybuilders, because this whole craze went from um, vegan, then if it fits in your macros, to then,
mm,
or you can have this, the Cocoa Pops and Square Bars and stuff. Cool. I'm not
mm,
saying there's nothing wrong with that. And I think people disregards Eddie Abu's whole point in the processed foods. He's not saying don't have it. He's saying if you use that and tell yourself that is actually good to have, you're wrong, which he is right. Because what tends to happen is, if we're doing natural bodybuilding and we do like carb cycles, or we're in off season and we have to push carbohydrates to the level where obviously it helps with calorie intake, right? Um,
mm.
you want to have the right foods, because that conversion over time, you don't want to be developing type 2 diabetes in later on when you finish or you retire from natural bodybuilding. So when I put my nutrition together, and I've done a post about AI chat GB, it's so crazy, because the carbohydrate sources I put in there for myself, for my clients, is because I understand what managing blood levels, right?
Mm.
Understanding and managing blood levels would significantly play a role in terms of the difference between you being healthy at the end of it after you retire from bodybuilding, smashing in 6 to 1,000 gram carbs a day, depending on who you are as an athlete. But the carbs and the processing and the breakdown, you have to be careful what it is. You have to be careful what it is. And it's quite interesting, because I said in 2022, 2023, I was on a podcast with the Natural Gains, and literally
Mm.
3 months later, Jordan Peters done a podcast or a post, and he said about like eating the better foods. And it was I think he was on a podcast, and the dietitians and nutritionists was talking about
Yeah.
that the type of foods that you have, you don't want to be developing type 2 diabetes. And again, it's an all-time high at the moment, so
Yeah, that link to metabolic disease, when you have a look at the quality or over processed foods, especially with like faster assimilating carbohydrates, because you get pushing the agenda that like, hey, you need quick, easy digesting carbohydrates for around training. You're not wrong, but there's a better way to get that in. Now, if you struggle with food volume, there are ways to get that in even better natural forms, but you need to start asking the question, why are you struggling to get this in? Like, are there some digestive problems going on here? Like, are you assimilating and nutrients correctly? Like, do you need to maybe have a look at that in more detail? Do you need to go have a look at stomach acid, enzymes? Do you need to go see a dietitian? Like start asking those questions around it, because I've noticed that when I slam more processed carbs down me, I become a lot more hungrier and crave more. And I don't like that. I noticed that, and I'm like, why am I a lot hungrier right now? I really don't like that. When I leave out or change one of my meals, if I'm on the go and have like a protein shake on the go instead of having my eggs and my spinach and my bacon medallions and stuff like that, I noticed straight away. I'm like, yeah, I'm way more hungry. I'm way craving. It's just a totally different ball game. Like if you're playing it,
100%.
yeah, man. And you don't want to lean too much left, and you don't want to lean too much right. It's kind of again striking that balance and making sure long term that you are making those improvements to that nutrition and that diet to give you the best possible chance to be able to fit that much food in and eat that much food in the off season when you come through. So you can have 5, 6, 700 grams of carbohydrates driving up because your volume's high and training's absolutely flying, and you've got more muscle than you've ever had.
Yep, 100%, 100%. And I think that today's social media, I think people are looking for a new craze to get people wanting to sell them something and to sell them like,
Mm,
it's crazy, because I was having a discussion with my client this morning, and we were talking about, imagine eating like just, chicken, rice, and broccoli, or your potatoes, your beef, and your
mm,
veggies. Today's society, we class that as healthy food. That should be normal. That's normal food first. That's food first, right?
mm,
And you see a lot of people now where they're like, hey, this is what I've had in a day for contest prep. And then you look at the food choices now, it's completely different to what I stick to, what I recommend for my clients, because it all then goes back to X amount of time. When you guys retire, whatever, this is not going to fall back on you. Like, let's just do it properly. Very, very simple. Another thing as well, I used to post a lot of energy drinks on my social media. I don't anymore. Just because the gut health, like, it's as much as we love it, as much as it's a massive, like, it fits with a stereotypical coach or business
Mm.
mentor who just puts up their Monster. I've not drank Monster for 2 years now. I'll have the odd C4 here and then.
You
But
escaped.
it's,
Congratulations.
yeah, I was bad on it. I was bad. Like, and that Monster White is fucking delicious, mate. Like, I was bad on it, but I had to. I had to be real, and I'm not going to tell anyone, hey, that energy drinks are bad
Mm.
for you. But if you have daily energy drinks plus your coffee plus your pre-workout, yeah, you probably got a problem there, mate. Like, you don't know how to
Mm.
manage it. So, again, I do believe, and I've heard a lot of people coming up now, and they're getting this autoimmune disease now from energy drinks. Like, a lot of healthy people are coming out and just like, yeah, like, I'm trash because now they've linked it to the energy drinks and what I've been having. And when you look at energy drinks, it's probably laced with the most amount of chemicals, man. Like, it's rough. It is rough. It is rough. But I'm not here to scare anyone. I'm here to, if you're going to look at Eddie Abu's approach, understand he's saying that, cool, have it once. He's saying have it once in a while, but he's
Mm.
saying don't just have it every single day and then watch me in my face and tell me that's healthy. But
Yeah, there's
so
there's an interesting way because he has tribalized people very very intensely online, and when some of this first stuff coming through, because obviously I know him. I walked past his gym many a times. I used to train at a Physique gym back when it was in Hemel, and it's called something else now. Like, and I know of him, and I know he obviously he's a former Olympian. I know he was a very very good bodybuilder as well. And it makes you quite interesting when someone does pop up like that, because when he's talking about whole foods and how, like, well, this is processed garbage and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I know, Eddie, I know. Like, I don't think this message is for me, mate. So, like,
no, it's
because I
not.
know
We
this.
know. No,
But we
100%.
know, yeah, but a lot of people are seeing that, like, oh yeah, I can have 200 grams of Cocoa Pops and I can still lose weight. You can, but that's gonna come back and bite you in the ass at some point. So
Yeah, and again, as like, and obviously the space that we in, like, I'm not gonna. Okay, so don't get me wrong. I understand, like, the bodybuilding clients and the clients who I'm helping who just needs to, rid 15, 20 kilograms. And when you look at their day to day and their eating habits and stuff, you can literally get them to eat the same food, but portion watch it and they will drop weight. Say if they're
mm,
eating couple of biscuits a day and they can still do that. And I do believe, and I've seen over the years where if you get a client who works from home that have no education on nutrition, the worst thing I can do or coach can do is just give them a super clean plan. It's just not going to happen. The sustainability would be so overwhelming.
mm,
They would just say, yeah, thanks for that, and they would go, wait, cool, I understand that. I just get them to watch a portion, and I will make sure, out of, like, if it's 4 or 5 meals they're having, or 3 to 4, at least 50% is good shit that you can grow in your garden, or you can see your livestock in your garden. They need to understand that and need to realize that the foods that they're eating is not made in a lab. Well, it's made in a lab, but the ingredients come from your carbohydrate source. It comes from your protein sources, or it comes from
mm,
your natural oils and stuff. Why just make it yourself? And then they just understand over time. But majority of people who are like, need to lose that 20 kilos of weight quick, just look at their lifestyle. They can literally eat the same thing that they eat every day. But once they manage it, that's the first 5 kilos gone. That is
yeah,
literally the
yeah.
first 5 kilos gone. And then we introduce right, this is what you have, this is the food that we have, this is better for you, so on and so forth. And to the point where they're like, I don't actually want to eat this meal because I don't feel good afterwards. And I'm like, that is a fucking good response. That's really good
Hmm.
biodata. So this is whole education on how to get you from here to there. Again, we're talking non-bodybuilders without you feeling too
Hmm.
overwhelmed or just look and think, you're not the coach for me. It just doesn't work. And again, I think we'd be doing it poor if we can help anyone, but we have to really individualize these people and their habits and stuff. So yeah, Cocoa Pops once in a while. It's not. It's again. It's not bad. But to look me in the eye and say you're gonna have it every day post workout, this bodybuilding, and you want to have okay,
Mate,
enjoy.
there's so many good points there. So, like, yeah, when we talk about obviously whole foods, how important that is, like, as because what we've evolved to be able to digest and eat. And then when you look at the flip side of that, of the fast-paced consuming goods and the marketing behind that, yeah, there's a whole industry kind of battle going on there. And it's like I kind of operate on like a 95-5 rule. I'm like, if you can get to the point where your food's like 90-10, 95-5, and you can have that, you're going to be more likely to succeed long term. And like you said, eventually be like, I don't really feel that good when I have too much of this stuff going on. Maybe it should be a treat every so often. Yes, it should. And like you said, getting momentum and buy-in from clients is super, super important, because if you do just throw them with a super clean diet, like you were just about to do someone, the bridge is too far. Like it's too far away from where they are right now. And then they're going to put it's going to be so much friction in that for them that they're just not going to want to try even bother doing that. But I had someone who I onboarded this weekend, and their entire food was processed. There was not a single fresh ingredient in the entire thing. And I was like, oh, dude. And, you know, we see this, you know, I'm not going to name him throughout that, but like, people would be more willing to take Retta than they are to have a look at their diet and eat whole foods. And when we have a look at that, and that's not that client, that's not his fault. That's not like anything to do with that. That's the industry as a whole right now. Like in 2026, I feel like you'll be more likely to hop on a weight loss drug than you were to eat some whole ingredient foods.
Yeah. And just a point on that, there are some business mentors out there who are saying that if you don't have AI and Retta is the way where coaching is gonna go. I'm like, you're just an idiot. We are here. I'll send you the person's link afterwards. All right. We are here to help people do the right thing. Like, and you're talking about if you don't understand how to read bloods and then Retta as an online coaching, maybe he should explain that a little bit longer to niche specific to certain amount of coaches and for certain amount of clientele. But it's not going to go to the point where I've had clients who's asked me about Retta. Can I tell you one of my biggest client onboarding this year has been clients who has taken fat loss jabs.
Yeah, like Manjaro, Zempic, all of that.
Just total weight loss. There's no body composition. Their body's eating themselves. They still have like loose skin. There's no composition. That has been a very, very. That's literally end of last year, going into this year. I think I've taken like 6 calls just from that particular case, and it's like you guys are taking all this stuff. But what you need to really understand is like it's always going to be resistance training and nutrition is always going to be the king. It's always going to be king. You can't take then expect to look like a superhuman or Marvel. If you're eating processed food all the time and you just say, hey, I'm going to take some Retta, one, you're uneducated on it. Secondly, as well, it's in the final stages of actually being pharmaceutically sold. So people are just taking it without it being the final stages. And you have to... It's what people are posting. And this guy has a big following. And when he said that, I was like, what?
Yeah, responsibility, right, within the fitness industry seems to go out the fucking window as soon as a few dollar signs start sniffing your way, right? And it's like your integrity just completely goes out the window. And it's like, yeah, but we'll remember that. Like the coaches that have been in this game for a while, we'll remember that. I started coaching in 2015, got my qualifications. I've been in this game for a while. I've seen the coaches and the mentors and the business gurus come and go.
Yeah.
I'm like, who's still here coaching away? Who's still doing the game? Who's getting better? Who's growing? Like, those are the people that you want to be in and around and want to rub shoulders with. And, you know, like we've both been within like business mentorships. There's a right way to do this and a wrong way to do this as well within that. And yeah, it's very, very interesting that pops up because it's not going away anytime soon. And when we see that, we don't know the side effects long term. But here's what we do know. Like, you're going to struggle to get your protein in. You're going to lose a lot of muscle mass. And when that comes all down, you're not going to like what you see because that's not what you actually wanted.
Yep. And to be fair, there are a few top coaches who I follow in the assisted realm as well. And these guys are pretty much not promoting it, but it's saying like it's not going to help. Like if you, especially contest prep, when it comes down to getting into X amount condition, like your variables still need to be on point. Yes, it would help, but longevity, why when you want to stop, you just keep eating and chewing. It's like, no, it's not good. So it's all about education, right? When people say, oh, Manjaro is going to kill online coaches, haven't heard about Manjaro for about 5 months. Now everyone's talking about peptides, so they just keep moving, chopping and changing.
It's the next fad. The next
And then
fad,
what's
right? Yeah.
100%. And
Yeah, man. Yeah, totally get that. So after obviously you didn't go to uni, talk to me about obviously the pathway of you getting your pro card in within bodybuilding, and what was that journey like? You know, did you get coaching for somewhere else? How did you get to where you are right now?
so first show was 2015. I was 110 kilos and I wanted to lose weight. And I was just like, I need something to keep me locked in to actually
Mm,
cross the line, right? I tried like dieting and stuff for myself. It just wasn't working. So then I said to myself, right, the job I was doing at the time was corporate, and every single year the office has to do some kind of charity event to raise money for that particular
yeah,
office,
yeah.
right? So then everyone was going morning meeting, everyone's going around in terms of what they're going to do,
Mm,
and I said, hey, I'm going to do a bodybuilding competition. They all like looked at me like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do a bodybuilding. They're gonna set up like a Virgin Golf, not for GoFundMe. It was called like Virgin something. I can't remember what
yeah.
it's called.
Whatever it was back in the day.
Yeah, and literally I posted it out and the link, and instantly I started getting money into it. So I had the that mindset where right, I need to do it because if I don't do it, we're gonna be fraud and it's gonna be stealing,
Mm,
right? So I had to then do the journey. So it was actually a really good psychological way for me to get into bodybuilding. So fast forward, it was a very short prep. My friend, who's helped me with it at the time, he was a bodybuilder, an assisted bodybuilder at the time.
mm,
But we lost the best bit of like 25 kilos in like 11 weeks.
mm,
Went on stage, did the BMBF Manchester Northerns, 17 in the class, didn't place in the top five, but I was so happy. I was so happy that I done it. Even more happy that I can eat again. Also, as well, to the point where it was like a massive achievement that I actually lost the weight that I wanted to lose.
mm.
And then, very interestingly, as we went backstage, I don't know if you know him, like the Pointers. So James Pointer, who I first competed with in 2015, really good bodybuilder. He won the class that day. And he came to me and he said to me, he's like, so what you've been doing? I said, "Oh, yeah, this, that, the other. And I've lost like 25 kilos. He's just like, mate, he said, you have so much muscle. He said, if you do this properly, he said, no one's going to beat you. Um, so then again, I was just like, oh no, thanks to your kind words, but I never really kind of looked at it that way.
Mm.
And then in 2016, I was like, I'm going to compete again. So I actually got a second placing in the qualifier, which was like, oh, that's like amazing. But I
Mm.
wasn't in condition enough. So my mate still helped me, by the way. My mate helped me
Mm.
then. So then I realized there's something slightly different he can kind of give me in terms of his protocols and stuff the way he used to doing. So August 2016, I took it right back. I said, right, I don't know if you remember bodybuilding.com.
Oh yeah,
Bodybuilding.com. So I used to have
yeah.
all like the forums and
The
everything. So I
forums,
went
yeah.
and I got my pad in the office and I goes, right, what is a calorie? How does a calorie work? What food groups a calorie? What does each calorie work? What does each gram mean? How does this work? So I taught myself from nutrition all the way through. And I did my own off season, I did my own reverse understanding nutrition. By the time, so from August when I finished the show in July, sorry, so it started in August, by January 2017, I was the strongest I've been, the leanest that I've been. Um, and I've never been in this shape in January. And I was just like, what the hell? So then I done off again, all by myself. I goes, right, let me do my first prep. Again, still bodybuilding, looking at what people are doing, look at the Jay Cutlers, look at the Ronnie Coleman's, look at the Phil Heaths, or look at all these people
Mm.
to see what they're doing. Um,
Do you used to have the Flex and Tone, like the magazine, like the Flex
yeah, at the
magazine?
local gyms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
at the local
Yeah,
gyms.
man.
So
Yeah, I
for
used to have
me,
a
what?
stack of them like that, mate, with like Flex on the front of it and like
Yeah,
all them boy, because that's where I used to get my information from, man, back in the day.
yeah. We had to really educate ourselves, not just see what someone doing on content and then reword it the same way or change it slightly. No, we
Mm,
actually had to digest that information. So, fast forward, uh, there was the first BMBF event, which was at the Body Power event, massive. So
mm,
done my own prep myself, and I thought to myself, cool, no cardio, don't need cardio because nutrition's on point. I wasn't fat in the off season, so I done a 11-week prep. Went in there, heavyweight, won the show, buzzing. Okay, lost the overall to James Pointer again, but that was my first place. That was my first win.
mm,
2017 May that was, and I went on holiday, then came back, and I was just like, right, I'm going to do the British finals. So I did get a lot leaner. Heavyweight class, there was, again, I think I was 19 in the bodybuilding heavyweight class. I joined sixth because they were placing the first six. So then you would know it's because I know how to do it now. If you come sixth, they say that everyone comes sixth outside five, right? But what it did was the actual six. So points came sixth.
They showed points, yeah.
And I was just like, oh, cool, I'm happy with this. But I wasn't happy with it because I was expecting our first girl, little girl. So I said to myself, I'm not going to compete in 2018. So I remember leaving the stage and thinking to myself, self-arrogantly, like, I could be better. Like, these guys don't have a better shape than me. Like, I respect them all. And I was thinking, I just need to get more conditioned. So 2018 now, I goes, right, rerun it back, 2018. That year, I was like, right, I'm going to have a baby's coming. I told the missus, right, I'm going to turn pro. She's like, yeah, but what happened if you don't turn pro? Because obviously she's been with me competing 2015, 2016, 2017. We've got a baby now. She's just going to like, dude, like, give me a break. And I was just like, I believed in my heart. I was like, no, I can, I have everything, I can.
That conviction, right? That conviction was there. And like, when a man gets conviction about doing something, you ain't turning him off the path.
Mate, it was a feeling that I've never experienced. So went through the season, 2018 prep, done my first qualifier, came second, was significantly better, significantly bigger. But my condition just quite wasn't right. I was killing myself in the gym. This was all in the Beef magazine, actually. I was on the cover of the Beef magazine in 2019 issue in February. So I made it on the cover of the Beef magazine, which is a massive achievement.
I've made it, Mum.
Exactly. And then
in the military, right? Very fun side tangent. When you get posted in we used to call it the Craftsman magazine because that was the corps I was in. But if you get posted in the British Army, you owe the unit you're in a crate of beer.
Is it?
Yeah, you used to get crated. Like that's how. So like you were like, don't take a picture. Don't take a picture.
Yeah.
No. So I got pinged for an operation we were doing because we placed like first in the navigational exercise, and then I got pinged again for being in the powerlifting team. And I was like, fuck, and I'm gonna have to go out and get 2 crates. So being in those pictures cost me like 30 quid in like crates because I'm crated, and there's a crate fine that you get done in if you don't get it. Like they'll come after you. Yeah,
seriously.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like how certain sports teams, like you'll hear like fines, right, in the Premiership, like at the fine. Yeah. Mate, there's just like that in the military. There's fines list, like if like all sorts of funny things, mate. Anyway, continue, man.
No, that's awesome. So did the first qualifier from 2018, 2018 July. Southern lost to came second in the lineup with James Pointer again, my nemesis, right? So
legit.
I literally was just like, do you know what? I waited for feedback, and I said to Vicky McCann, the president of, the owner of the BABF, and I said to her, I was just like, Vic, I'm kidding myself, man. Like, I'm up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm doing Stairmaster 5 days a week. I'm literally killing myself. And she just literally
still
said
self-coach
to
at this age.
Yeah, I was still self-coach. Self-coach. But I just couldn't get the remedy to get nails. Like, I had the shape and the size, but it just wasn't nails. And she just said to me, right, what's your macros? So I told her my macros, and she just like, right, just swap the macros, reduce the fats from like 80 to like 30 or 40, whatever it is, and you replace that calories with carbohydrates. And I was just like, right, okay, cool. So I went away, done it now, like within a week, started getting significantly harder, significantly drier, because I was really strong in the gym anyway. Still, I'm quite naturally a strong lifter. So obviously with that, plus again, I'm going to become a pro to doing everything what I need to do. Is borderline obsessive what I wanted to achieve, but I cared about getting to where I need to. And then I think it was about 3 weeks later or a month later, she checked in and she's like, how are you getting on? So I just sent her some photos, and she was just like, oh my God. She's like, what are you doing? I said, this is what I'm doing. So she said, like, look, if you want, I can help you going to the British finals. I was like, oh, please, man, because like I'm working 10 hours a day as an estate agent. Like, I'm doing all this cardio, I'm doing all this food. So I'm just doing what I believe is the right thing to do. But I was pushing way too hard. So she's like, what have you been doing? So I told her, and she's like, okay, cool. Right. here's your food. She bumped my food up again. So she put my food to like 600 gram carb in prep. She was
Mm.
like, no cardio. And she goes, just do a 20-minute walk before you have your meal. What she said, that's it. And I've done my check-ins, and she was just like, holy moly, because I was just getting fuller and I was getting significantly harder. And
Mm.
then again, at this point, I'm so like, I don't know what the
Is that
hell's
like the
going on.
first peak week technically you've done?
I've done peak weeks. I've done my own peak weeks and
Yeah,
stuff.
so you've done it before like that, but just never to the
Yeah,
extent where you had as much carbs.
yeah. It wasn't even a peak week. That was so. This was still running into the British finals. So what she's done was she
Mm.
has. We're gonna say in today's literature, like literally de-output. She's like, don't do any cardio, don't do this, and here is more food. So I'm just like, okay,
Mm.
cool, eat more food. She's like, no cardio, nothing, and now we got fuller. My muscle fullness came back on, and I look
Mm-hmm.
significantly better and way fresher. And then Liverpool, from Reading to Liverpool, it took 10 hours because there was a parade that day. And we was driving around, had a little baby in the car, 6-month-old. Mrs. is stressed, he's
Mm-hmm.
stressed, and they had to go do the check-ins. So we dropped them off, and then we went to the check-in bit, whatever. And then I can remember checking in, and I was just like, oh, not out of it, but I was just kind of like, yeah, like I'm just want to just do the show. I had no expectations, I had nothing. And then Vic,
Mm.
she's like, cool, let's have a look at you. Just I went through some posing in the disabled toilets, and then she got Guy. I don't know if you know Guy. Guy's
No, I can't say I do.
Vicky's husband.
Okay.
So he's again part with BABF. So he had a look at me, and if you don't know him, you're always going to get a very much. He's kind of straight to the point, right? No
Yeah.
emotional changes or anything like that. But I didn't know
Direct,
him like
blunt
that.
to the point.
Quite direct. He had a look at me. He's like, "Yep, cool, cool." Had a look around him. He's like, "What food have you got left?" I told him. He's like, "Right, just have 200 more grams of sweet potato before I go to bed." Cool. 20. So show day come now. Again, no expectations. Again, I think I look okay, but thinking about it now, I look king. I've got photos that I look wild. So I came,
Yeah.
see, middleweight class. I was pumped. I can remember just having my clothes on. My missus there, my daughter's there, my brothers and stuff come all the way from Reading, and this was the opportunity for me to go and earn my pro card, obviously win the class. But I still very much wanted to
Mm.
obviously aim towards that. And middleweights come out now. There were about 15 in the class. I mean, it was just huge. It was just massive.
Yeah, every
And
class you've been in sounds deep.
and this is a conversation for a different day. It's like, how do we then measure bodybuilding back then to now? And I tell you, back then the guys were way more aggressive and they were way bigger, and I know why they were bigger as well. Um, so I came out last because my surname Tia-Okwee, so I came out last in the lineup. And as soon as I came out, like literally, I can just hear the crowd just went, "What?" And I was just like, "Is everything okay?" And it's just like, "Okay, cool. We done the mandatories." And then we went into the first, so we done the quarter turns and then mandatories. After that, it was just like, right,
Mm.
Opio, go to the back, and Tom, go to the back. Because Tom and James are brothers, and they were both in the same class. So I was at the back thinking, okay, I got to be told the back. But the guys was looking at me, and when they stood next to me, they were like, "Mate, you look fucking insane." They were like, "You've won it." I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" He's like, "You won it." I was like, "Nah." Halftime show comes out. Louis, who was a pro in 2017, he was just like, "Mate, you might do it today." I was like, "Do what?" He's like, turn pro." I was like, "Oh, no way." He's like, I'm being serious, man. He's like, "You're my favorite for the day." And everyone kept saying, like, "You're a
Yeah,
favorite for the
you're
day."
on.
AJ Morris
You're on.
was like, "Mate, this is you."
Mm.
And I was just like, right, okay. So won the British final, won the British finals middleweight class. Happy with going for the overall, and then we was against Adrian Simpson. I don't know if you know him, he calls himself Simo on Instagram. I'm very very good bodybuilder. We're very close since competing like them. I just missed out on the pro win. Sorry, on the overall to get the DFAC Pro card, and
Mm.
he messaged me afterwards. It's like, "I thought you had it," but he's just like, "Bro, you're so insane." And the other opportunity was to go to Florida to compete. But at that point, as I've been prepping for 35 weeks, it's 7 weeks again till
Mate,
Miami.
it's a long way as well, right? Because like, I got invited to go to WMBF in 2024 because I placed in top 3 in the novice, and I was like, well, I placed third. I was like, I don't really fancy my chances going across all the way to there, placing third. I was like, I'm very very humbled to even have the invite. It's an incredible honor to have something like that, to have that gold envelope. I think I've still got it stashed away somewhere as a fucking reminder, you know. But like, I was like, I am not going to spend potentially 3 grand, 3.5 grand to go across there and get wiped out by
Yeah,
whoever else is coming in, because I was looking worse and worse as the season was going on. Like, I just realized it was because kind of was like my first
that's
time
fair.
getting really, really lean.
Yeah,
And I would probably say the best look I had was a UK DFBA show. I looked I had zero expectations. So like when they were calling people out, like, for me, I called it like my redemption arc. In 2024, like coming back, proving I could do this, prove I can place, prove I've got a spot in natural bodybuilding. That, all those lies I would tell myself about genetics and all the rest of it, was extinguished kind of in that point. And when people were calling out, it was like, oh, okay, and fifth place is this person, and fourth place is this person. I was going, fuck off. And the third place is this person. I was like, fuck off. No, like, because I just didn't believe it, like at the
yeah, yeah,
time,
yeah,
like
yeah.
even though I was there in stage, right? But then when I look at the pictures from the WMBF, like I was like, okay, maybe it was the glaze, maybe it was the stress, maybe, because I'd been prepping since like February, January, and it was now October,
Oh,
and I'd gone from like 113 down to 88.
yeah,
And and me and Elliot, my coach at the time, Elliot Gibson, was both saying you cannot start prep at 110 plus ever again. Like you can't do it. Like you cannot get away with that. So like you need to start it a lot leaner. So like as soon as I hit kind of 110 now, I'm like straight back down, and that's why
back
I'm doing
down.
a mini
Yeah,
cut at the moment. So it was, yeah, learning all those lessons first time, mate. Like, it sounds like you've gone through that as well, bro.
yeah, no, absolutely, and that's the thing, right? So we come from where like literally bodybuilding used to be like you start in January. You start cutting in January and you go all the way through the season. But again, as you said, there's much smarter ways. And like when I took my client Gene, I've done his first pre-prep in the August of 24, and then he came to
Mm,
25 and absolutely cleaned up because we went through the phase where it's like, cool, body fat percentage keep coming to be fat. Like, let's get this off, okay? Let's get this
mm,
off. But the training programming is going to not just be getting any bigger or anything like that. I call it the refinement, where the more experienced the athlete is never going to be like, right, you need to grow this or you need to grow that. It would be, okay, cool, what can we then refine so that when you stand in all your shots, you look absolutely insane. So it would just be like just getting the calves a little bit more rounder, just working on this teres group rather than right on top of his lats, which attached to his rear delt. So all of these things are going to help him look significantly wide with someone who's got a very narrow frame. Genetically, he's got the
mm,
big round full muscle, right? So that's what we did in the pre-prep. We went all the way down and we did a slow push-up, but the push-up was to hold body composition and get better at those refinement points. If he blew out his body composition, we'd just be on maintaining, right? So that's what he did.
yeah.
And the only way how to not get fat in a maintenance or a gaining phase is to actually progressively overload. People say, oh yeah, but progressive overload, like you don't have to do it, and it's all this stuff. Like my mesos are just built on progressive overload. Like that's all we focus on.
Mm,
Focusing on is just getting strong. We're not focusing on legs, we're not focusing on chest, we're not focusing that my mesos on my clients are built with progressively overloading. That's the goal for this mesocycles, right? That we be running. And this is why my guys who shouldn't place or shouldn't be on a bodybuilding stage place and win shows, right? So that's what we did with Gene and the maintenance phase, and we went into a the pre-prep. Pre-prep was just basically just like a recovery, just go away with his family for a bit, just like really sort of de-stress, manage the food,
chill
and we
out.
come back and we went into a prep. And we did the first show was like 16 weeks, and then afterwards, I think he had like a 22-week prep in total. But the amount of tissue he retained, like his conditioning on the final show, everything was just
Mm,
like absolutely obscene. So yeah, you're right. Starting prep too fat can cost you because you just lose muscle and you lose, and it's just tough. It's just I've been there. It's rough. 25 kilos in like
mate,
11 weeks. It's rough. It's rough, you
mate,
know.
yeah, 100%, man. What were you? So when you won your pro card eventually, like where was that at, and how much did you weigh?
So after the British finals, Vicky messaged me when I got home all the way back from Liverpool. She's just like, right, here's a new nutrition plan. And I can remember having some cakes made for
Mm.
me, and I put it down. I goes, I'm gonna do America, and my missus like,
Mm.
really? And then my mum was just, she rang me, she said, oh, do you want to do it? And this, that's just like, yeah, I do, but it's just really tough, like financially, because we bought a house. We've been a year into the house, obviously with a new baby and stuff. It's still been really difficult. She's like, look,
Mm.
I'll pay for
Yeah.
your tickets. So don't worry, guys. Go and stay with your auntie Wendy, who lives in Florida. So my mum's sister, we're really close. So I just thought, right, get the tickets. Went there. I weighed in at 76 kilos in Miami. Went through the middleweight again. competed with some really good boys, and then won the overall title and became a DFAC from there. It was probably the most de-stressed and like 1,000. Like I cried because I don't know if it was because of you know when you achieve something that is impossible. I don't know if anyone's done it. Obviously, you would have done it. You've lost like 40 kilos from when you were different
Yeah,
graded to the
man.
military,
Yeah,
right? So
136 down to 88, mate. Yeah. So when I got real
yeah,
fat, like you know, seeing yourself in a different line like that is incredibly emotional because it's like it's reality confirming. It's like I am not that person I thought I used to be. I am this person now. And when you change that person, it's like you've won your own personal war.
100%, 100%, man. And that was for me achieving that, especially to become a DFAC pro, because that's all I wanted to be. Because I believe that the DFAC pros were the top guys, the top pros. You got the
Huge
Nathan, you got
title,
the
mate. It's a
Davis.
huge title.
Like it was amazing. So yeah, I was 76 kilos on at the Worlds, and the British finals I was 74. So Vic just gave me more food all the way up until 7 weeks from the post. BMBF in Liverpool. So I came in 2 kilos heavier, and bro, the pictures of like the check-in pictures and stuff. That today, and Gene and I were very close, and we talk all the time. He lives around the corner from me, right?
Mm.
And we'll get up my amateur pictures and we place it to the new pro, the new pro, the new pro, and every single one of them, he was just like, they're not coming there. And that's what I look at, and
Mm.
I do want to eventually compete. I got like really nasty injuries. That's what I did 2022, but it was just like rush. I came in too big. I didn't know I was going to compete, and it was just kind of like, look, I take it on the chin. I learn from it. But that's uh,
Mm.
that's pretty much it. So I'm still training's going good. I've got enough size. I've got enough balance. So for me, it's just a matter of training without having to take 2-3 weeks off due to pain and injury because I've got arthritis on both my shoulders and I got a nasty TFL and IT band tear for the last 5 years. So just
Mm.
managing that, training around that. But I would still love to compete in the pro lineup, man. Still love it.
Yeah, I mean, like, not only just the story right there is like throughout that is not only inspiring of coming back and showing up and pushing further and going for it and going for it and going for it, but the relief of that, no one can take that away from you, man.
Nah,
Like
come on,
that's
man.
yours. You know what I mean? And that gives you a certain amount of confidence and just like self belief, right? When you go out and do, and again, within bodybuilding, like we said, we talk about the process, doing hard shit. When you do hard shit, it makes you a better version of yourself. And bodybuilding, it doesn't really get a lot harder than that in the psychological warfare you have to go against with hunger or to go back and lift the same weights again and again and again because you're not just working out, you're not just doing it for some health and fitness or stamina or doing this run to make you feel good. Like, man, you sometimes you have to go to like war in
You
against that
have
because you
to.
just want to do something else. You're like, no, I have to come in and do this because that's what fits the long-term program. That's what I need to do. It's like I would very happily love just to do 2 leg days a week. I don't need more legs, so I have to go in and consistently go in and do shit that I'm really fucking weak at again and again
Yeah.
and again and again to get better at because my chest, the upper top line sucks. So we have to build that up. Whereas my legs are just like, yeah, they're chilling, they're here. I don't think like they even notice when like I don't train them that often. Like I train a little bit of legs, quads, like a little bit of glutes every so often, a little bit of hammies with my back or whatever, some calves every so often.
Yeah, your legs
That's
are
it.
huge, man. As you
They're
posted, you
fucking
got some lines at like
stupid.
110. I was just like, damn, they're big and they're mature, man. They're
Yeah,
dense.
but like we talked about, right, that background in sport, right? I did nothing but play football as soon as I could kick a football, all the way up till I was 27. Sprint work, sprint work, sprint work. Like they would put me as a sweeper because over 30, 40 meters, I was the only guy that was going to catch the brothers. Because
Yeah.
I got these long gangly legs
Yeah.
that would come in and slide tackle you, and that was it. Like that was it. Like if you get more than 50 meters on me, I ain't catching you. But like over a 30 or 40 meter, I
Right.
could get you.
I love you. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like and that was always the case of that. I was showing up in places that like no one wanted me. Like I was awkward. I was tall. Like I'm 6'4". You know what I mean? I'm kind of, if you've met Elliot or you know Elliot, I'm the same height as Elliot. Like
Yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah.
both got kind of
Yeah,
like,
very well.
and we've had to build like these physiques out for him. Basketball, he's top heavy. Like he is ridiculously sure and dense on the upper, and he's had to work his legs up. I'm just a flip of Elliot, basically.
Opposite to,
Like,
yeah.
complete opposite throughout that. We always joke if we could cut ourselves in half and merge ourselves together,
But
we'd
just,
create the
yeah.
ultimate, like some kind of like Dragon Ball fusion stuff going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Oh
Imagine
man,
the upper density side leg detail on 110 with Eddie. He's like 107 or 108, and he's looking ridiculous at the
yeah.
moment on
See,
the upper body.
I saw him a couple of
And
weeks ago,
there's
him and Talib, and yeah, the boys are big, man.
yeah,
Elliot's huge. It's quite interesting. I mean, me and Elliot was talking about the velocity, with my training and the methods and stuff,
mm,
and he was a little bit how and it was quite interesting. It's actually a very good conversation we had, and that's when the point I'm like, you know what, I need to actually get like meta glasses and then go to a show because I'll be talking and people ask me questions and stuff, and some of the stuff
mate,
is so
yeah,
valuable that you can't pre-record and then say it. Like the energy and the
mm-hmm,
passion is gonna be completely different, and that's what I'm
yeah,
gonna start doing. Where I go to the shows wearing and just have a question, I'm gonna forget I'm wearing them and just talk normally and just like
yeah.
clip them and just put them on like
I've
Instagram and stuff.
seen. I think it's Christian does that, doesn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah, he
Uh,
wears the and it's so good because it's like you can literally see, oh, I'm in the fucking tiny little Fiat 500. Like I'm in the
yeah.
fucking way. Oh, this is this person. I'm checking him with this. Or like, well, I have another kind of monster. Like you
Yeah.
can just see him as he goes across with it. And I think he's really caught on and just bit the bullet and done it early. And he'll probably reap the benefits from doing that, right? But yeah, I was with Elliot and Talib for the WNBF just gone. Actually, we were at the show because my client competed, done his thing, bugged out, and I was like, I'll stay for a bit and watch some of the guys throughout that. So it was good, like spending time with the Team Power
Yeah.
guys, as I like to call them, as well. And like Talib's fucking hilarious. He's brilliant.
Yeah,
Like
he is. He's full
spending
of
the day
passion
with
as well.
him. Yeah, love it, mate. We were having some jokes when we were watching the guy who won the overall. I think Rohan, who won the overall
Hmm.
for the WNBF. Just like the thickness that that guy had, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. But
Hmm.
yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the latest results coming through at the moment this year within natural bodybuilding? And I'll give a nice segue.
I think it's good. I think it's fair. I think we've not seen a year like this where the top five are insane at qualifiers. Um, Even with the DFBA, it's quite a new one. Obviously, I know you're gonna have a lot of the guys who have been trickling into other shows. Hello, mate. Other shows,
Yeah.
and oh, he's just say hi.
Yo, what's up, man?
Stop picking it up. Okay,
Oh, that's it. It's going out. It's going out on YouTube now, mate. He's gonna be mortified. He's picked his nose on
That's
TV.
it. Alright, this is reality, man. We can't always be perfect on social media and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so I was saying I've seen like the top fives in not just the federation last weekend went, but even the
Mm,
WBF, the MPW as well, which was wild, and
mm.
we're
Great
seeing
show.
some. We're seeing some really good guys, and that's where you want to have a top five. Is that competitive to be like, because the
Mm.
decision making in a point is going to be literally a couple between one and three, and probably
Very
like,
close split decisions. Yeah.
and that's what the feedback's been like, revealing scorecards and stuff. But I think it's very good.
Hmm. I think it's. I thought it was awesome. Like seeing that kind of go through just puts you without shadow of a doubt. Like, okay, this is what they're seeing. This is what they're thinking. This is what the criteria. This is where I stand. I would have loved that when I competed in 2024 to know more like about that. But for me, it was like quite obvious. Like I just needed to come in leaner and build more upper body. Because again, I had this very similar kind of little nemesis vibe with another guy called James as well, who I beat in the UKFBA, and then he beat me in WNBF, and then he
No
went to
way.
Worlds throughout that. And I was like, oh, this. I was thinking like you have a similar nemesis called James as well, like the Jameses of the
I
worlds,
know,
like.
I know. Again,
But
the push has
he
to
had
be better.
fantastic shape. Yeah, they do exactly. He had fantastic shape. He come in
Mhm.
sharper. I didn't. I didn't have the glaze on. My posing wasn't as good as well. Something I could definitely prove. Like his posing was better. So yeah, man, it's always in the good nature of Quebec because it pushes you to become better. Find another way. Find a better way to do this. Be more objective around it, man. So what's in the future for yourself, man? As we have these like kind of nice little closing remarks.
So the future, I'll be again. I haven't said anything formally out there, but technically, if I were to jump on stage next year, my pre-prep
Mm,
would start in July. So in fact, I've been getting into habits already at a part of June. Training is going to like significantly good. Pain is being managed. I'm sticking on top of my rehabs. But I think it's for me to jump back on that stage. There's not really a perfect time. I think that's where I'm at the moment. So if I can have a good training run, I'm going to do the whole process like I'm about
Mm,
to compete based on injuries and then pain. If it feels like I'm forcing and the pain's bad, because
mm,
sometimes I can't even do a squatting pattern or even move my legs. Um, so that's kind of where more sort of personally, more sort of selfishly, and I think the rest in terms
has
of
to be.
like with the
Has to be.
businessman with the business side of things, I'm just pushing that more, just being more available, just want to be talking more about me and my tone, just to get more of my branding out rather than just
Mm,
reading a carousel. I just want to say like, you know, what my objections are, what I think is right, my opinions. And just kind of
personality,
focusing on
yeah.
business and that. Yeah, so it's helping massively, and my interaction is going crazy since I've been posting 2 to 3 times a day now for the last like week. It's a huge difference, and a lot more inbound from there. So just having fun with that, focusing on obviously family is always going to be a focus, the core center of it. But yeah, just if I can have a good training run,
Mm.
you guys will see me. Again, it's not formally out there yet, but that's why I haven't said anything because I don't know where the
Now
training's
you
going
got
to
just
be.
got to
So
take it as it comes, right? Like, because especially with what arthritis in both shoulders and TFL injury, and on that side,
anti-man TFL.
that's not something you just kind of walk off. Like
It has to
that's
literally, it has to be managed. Has to be managed. So
yeah, yes, it has to be right because like you think of that's basically every press movement and every squat pad movement, like but potentially at risk there if you mismanage that.
yes, absolutely. That happened in 2022. I forced it, and I was just like, I shouldn't have done it. But I am better now than I was in 2022.
Mm.
So, and that's what my training is. The weights are looking good, but I'm a lot stronger than what I'm posting now.
Best believe that, right? Keep that on the wraps. But well, best of luck, mate, for everything in the future, man. I'm sure this won't be the last time we obviously have a chat. I'm sure we'll chatting along in the DMs, man. So it was great for you to tell you a little bit about yourself, your story, your journey, and I hope that everyone obviously listening to this has sought some motivation, some inspiration, and learned a few knowledge bombs or truths along the way, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, thanks for tuning in, man. Any closing remarks, Opie?
No, that's it. I just want to say thanks for having me. Really enjoy our chat, the questions, your opinions, and hearing my opinions as well. And anyone who is wanted to follow me, I'm on social media, on Instagram mainly. You can check my YouTube. I haven't posted there for like a year, but that's what I do. Coach, help people, get people to elite conditioning, get them on stage, take pros to win shows, and anyone who wants to take off that 15, 20 pounds and have really, you know, have a lot of confusion, just drop me a message if you don't want to message Martin. But it's all is good. But yeah, thank you all for listening, and I'm sure that we won't be strangers.
No, absolutely. We'll be posting all the links to the socials and everything down below in the link. So if you want to follow Opio, if you want to see his story and everything like that, just drop it in there. It'll be in the comments below. Until the next one, ladies and gents, I'll catch you soon.